underscore layout. And again, well, maybe it's someplace it says it, but again, the system relies on defaults, okay? It expects there to be an underscore layout and expects to use it. I didn't have to specify it. Yes?
It's in the underscore view start is where you specify it. It's just one line.
Pardon?
Underscore view start is where you specify it.
Oh, it's in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it specifies that, yeah. But again, it's already built there, so. So what do we got here? Let's play with this and edit this.
Bootstrap.
So we have, just like a master page would, it starts off with proper HTTP protocol. It says what kind of a document I am. I'm HTML. It's got a heading or head, and it's got a body. Which character set am I using? And then it says title at viewbag title. So what it's doing is it's taking the title that we set and it's sticking it there. Okay. Now let's just change this viewbag title. You know what's really strange here is there's no concatenation symbol there. It is literally, if I put in viewbag title, have a nice day, then it's going to say, have a nice day dash my ASP explanation. There's not a delimiter that tells you the end. But you know what it is, because this is the name you gave it, all right? So I'm going to change this, and I'm going to say, happy birthday. Okay, here's our body, and what do we got? These nav bar headers, do you know what those things are?
Bootstrap.
This is all this pre-canned, does everybody know what Bootstrap is?
Yes,
Okay.
we all try.
Go ahead. I don't, so I'm glad you do. I'm really weak at all this client stuff, so I'm counting on you to help me through. So, blah, 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 action link. Here's an action link, application name index home. Okay, now this is interesting. If you remember, when the app started, it had the name, and then it had the 3 links. And if you clicked on the name, it was the same as clicking on home. Well, guess why? Here's the link when you click the home button, and here's the link for that. The only difference is this one gets a name, and then it says index home. This one says home index home. So this is the name of the controller, I think. Actually, they have these things backwards. Drives me crazy. So what I say may or may not be right. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the last one's the name of the controller. Even though the URL starts off controller method, they flip them in these action links. I don't know what Turkey did that. That's the name of the controller. One of these is the name of the method, and the other one is the name of what you want it to display. So I think if I do this, it'll tell me what those things are. Usually it will.
Please scroll over action link.
Action link. Okay. Link text action name. Okay, the first one is the text. Okay, so I'm going to, just to make this abundantly clear, I'm going to say Kurt Home, Kurt about, and Kurt contact. And then this whole silly thing, which puts that whole strip up there, I'm just going to get rid of that. I don't like that. But again, there's no good reason for what I just did. So what do I got? I got rid of that thing that said what the application name was. And there's my 3 buttons with their names. And there's my silly view page that has nothing in it. And now, if you look up at this little tab up here, what does it say? Homepage, happy birthday. Okay, that's what I set when I set that field. Now we haven't touched these 2 guys. those literally take you to other controllers. So if you hold your mouse over them, you should see that. So let's hold the mouse over login, and you'll see instead of going localhost home something, it goes account, which is the name of the object, and then the login method. But we're not going to go through that. Okay. Let me quickly look at the article and see if there's really anything more I want you to get out of this.
Oh, you should also have to comment this stuff.
Huh?
You should also have to comment the razor. Comment the razor.
Comment the array.
The razor.
It's / and razor.
I can tell.
Are you saying how do you comment in Razor?
If it's in the block, it's //. If it's outside, it's a standard HTML block. Or you can press Control KC.
Control who?
Control KC.
Oh, okay. So this was all set up, and then this article goes on and goes to the next, adding a controller. Yeah, I guess we should do this. Yeah. Okay, so what we've just done is we hacked up the default controller and views that are supplied when you start a new app. The article is now going to go on, and we're going to add a new controller that does our own stuff, okay? And I think that's worth going through. So let's take a break until that guy points to a 1, and then we'll proceed with that article for a ways. Bye. Sounds like an opportunity for you to make money.
Oh, to make a tool like that? Yeah. Probably. I do. I mean,
Did you find
Other
it?
people show.
Did you
I
register?
think they did.
Haven't
Yeah.
got registered yet.
Well, I don't really want to make
Escape.
Dude,
Slow.
You can use it on
Tried to,
Mind distraction.
Okay, so you're designing your app and you're chunking up your app into logical pieces, just like you would any other app. So you're going to have multiple objects. So it's time to add a new object. In our other program, we would have said, you know, new class, and then you would add a constructor. Well, the system has built-in things, so we're going to build one. And what we type here is important. And I'll try to point out why. We're going to add an MVC5 controller, and we're going to want the empty one. And when you say add controller, it'll ask you what the name is. And the word controller will be there, and something will be there, and it will be like blue or something like that. Your controller name must have the word controller in it. Don't ask me why, it's the way they build it. Okay? So if we go to our app, I'm going to close the layout page. I'm going to close the index. I'm going to close the contact. Well, I'm going to try to do that. And now I'm going to come over here and close this folder and that folder and that folder. And I'm going to right-click on controllers and say, hey, I want another one. Add controller. There it is right at the top. How nice. Now, I'll tell you this. I don't know if we'll get, I don't think we get to it. This one here is the sweet one. We're building OData v3 with actions using Entity Framework, or the one above it that says Entity Framework. It is amazing. You build this controller and it has all its objects and methods. And then you click one button and it will build a SQL, literally, it will build the SQL database, and it'll store all your objects in the database automatically. And you never have to write a line of SQL code. Of course this is. So you should have done that when you had two. Who did not have 210? Did everybody take 210? You did not have 210.
I transferred.
I took 210, but it was with Chan, and it was like 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah. It was called the Small Business Framework back then. What was the entity?
Like that.
That's
No,
a
it was-
joke.
it might have been Entity. It was called Entity Framework.
That was a joke. That was a joke. Small business. Sorry. Anyhow, we're going to take an entity one. And then it's going to say, what do you want to call it? Now, you notice how default is blue, but the word controller is not. They're trying to give you a hint. Don't screw with that part of it. Okay, and my web article says we want to call this thing Hello World. Hello, call it anything you like.
Let's say
Hello World. Can't spell world. No, that's not right.
RLD.
I bet they don't even have a spell checker here.
Right click on control.
Okay, so now you'll see over here in our list of controllers, another one's been added. You just added another object to your library of objects that will be a controller. And Hello World controller. And it says get Hello World. Now it turns out this get turns out to be important. We won't go through it now, but when you get into the API programming, you specify, do you want that to be got with a get, or a put, or a post, or whatever else it is, and then it will enforce that, and it will only accept it if you call it with the right HTML client call. So this is a reminder that this method is expecting to be called from the client with the get call, which is probably the default. And it named one called index. And why did it call it index? It's time we learn about routing. Let's go up here to the app start folder. And there's this thing called root configuration. This is where, this is all defaulted, and what it defaulted to is perfectly good, but this is where you get to add more routes and add more things. This says that if a URL comes in, and it doesn't match any other particular pattern, then assume that what comes after the slash is the controller, and what comes after that is the action, and then assume there's a query string called ID, and I can't see the rest of the screen, that's why I was a little surprised. And it's listed as optional. So what that says is, our original page, which was called MVC Movie, I think. Where's our other controller, our home controller? Yeah, so let me just show you this. I'm gonna run mine. And you'll notice the URL up there has nothing after it, okay? So it comes into this web controller, and this web controller says, you didn't specify a controller, and you didn't specify a method. Oh my, what am I going to do? Or I could say /home, and it goes to the home, or I can say /index, and it goes to the home, or I can say /5, and it goes there. It's happy with any of
It's
those.
a default for.
And that's
default route.
because our root table is set up to say, the default, if all else fails, is I want you to interpret the string as a controller and an action and a possible ID. And then here's a default. If they don't specify anything, send them to the home controller and send them to the index. Okay? So that makes it really nice for your website. If people don't really know, then they don't have to remember all that junk. It'll always get you to the home page, okay? But we won't be able to get to our hello world. So when we type, we can't get to hello world here, right? But if we come up here and type hello, I don't know if I put a capital here, I still can't spell world. I probably don't need to say index, but I'm just not going to risk it. The view index or its master was not found. Okay, so what that tells me is it went to my hello world controller, it went to my index method. My index method said return view. We never build a view. There's no view for it to return. So anyhow, that's how all that works in 20 seconds or less. So what I do now is I put my mouse somewhere in this method, pretty much anywhere. I right click and the very top menu says add a view, and boom. The view name, I want it to be indexed, don't screw with that. And go ahead and use my master page, and I'm done. A file with that name already, no.
Yeah, you already have an index file for the homepage, right? View.
Oh, I'm on the home controller. I'm supposed to be on the Hello World controller. Thank you. Yes, I right click here and I say add a view. And it says yes, 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 and then I add it. Okay. There's a word used in this context called scaffolding, and the best I can come up with, it means we're going to write code on your behalf. It's like intelligent code writing. So here it is, and I'm going to change this to say movie homepage, just so that title makes more sense. And then I'm going to change this heading to say movie, and I'm not even sure what I'm going to write. Movie page, but oh, this is interesting.
It just takes a bit.
So it started off at hello world /index. Now, why did it do that? We'll come back to that. Anyhow, here is my movie page, the one that I just built. So I've gone to the hello world controller. I spit back into the index method, and the index method returned in the folder views hello world index view that page that I just edited. Okay. Now, why did it go there? And by the way, notice I can go back to the home page, but I don't have a button here to get back, and that's because we haven't built it. Well, we could build it. It can be built. Pretty much a lot of Microsoft programs do this in Visual Studio. If it can, and you have a page open, it'll try to run that page if you haven't set it default. Okay. So that may be the behavior you want, or you may want to go over here. I don't know, if I click on home controller and I say set a start page, no, let's see if the view will let me say set at start page. Home, index.
Yes.
Set as start page, there. Okay, from now on, no matter what I'm on, it'll go to the home page. All right, so there you go. Now let's go back and see if the article said anything exciting that we haven't already seen. It created the view, it created the Hello World folder, but then we created the actual thing. And then the article's going to go on, and it's going to create another method called welcome. And there's a welcome method. It'll have a welcome view. That's not too exciting. Here they go on to explain that page that I was just talking about how routing works. And adding a view, we already added a view. We don't need this section, we'll skip through there. Oh, and then this is interesting. Here, we can go into the action link and cut and paste one of these lines and add another one for our page. So let's just do that. So this is in the layout. So if we go open up the shared layout, and the name of these files is CSHTML, which is cute. It's a combination of C# and HTML. Okay. Now, how do you do a nav bar? Well, I'll tell you how I do a nav bar. I take one of the nav bars, Control C it, and then I Control V it. And this is going to be what's shown. So I'm going to call this hello